races, athletics, chasing boys, chasing girls.
Oh, that's a lot of responsibility.
It's the chair. That's the chair. That's what that chair does.
Or you don't want to be. Well, is Tammy coming tonight?
As far as I know, she is.
Last month.
We had some extended agenda items. Yeah.
Like when I saw the agenda, I was like, oh, let's go for a long one. Yeah, I was talking about that.
I have an old copy. Yeah, we got an extra thing under future agenda.
Yeah, but she was like, because I was like, no, dude, Mom was there, but she was like, no, she's like, hurt her wrist, and she didn't play today, and I was like, and then she was there the whole.
Bridget, my friend Bridget, she, yeah.
Darcy
yeah.
was supposed to be on.
met with her today.
And Darcy texted me like an hour ago. She's one of the
And Kelly, the three of us are
Yeah.
playing this year. Yeah.
Enjoy it.
She is?
I'm not gonna be
Oh,
that.
from school, okay. Yeah. Teaching, right. Yeah, because I met with her today on our budget, so she would have mentioned something to me if she
Right.
wasn't.
Or recently, I think.
I was tired after mass Q.
Soccer, right?
At the top of the
All that
stairs,
dancing.
cheering
I
that she
know,
was doing.
all the dancing.
Good.
Oh, is she? I can't believe it. We can't do that policy subcommittee every week. Like, it's gonna be a break in between. I was going through.
If- I honestly just want to have just take Jim's stuff and just post it,
Yeah.
right? And then go through it
Then go
after.
through
Yeah.
He's so cute.
Yeah, lose it, buddy. I could have doubled the ball, you know. It seems like you're. Yeah. Yeah. So they're like, all right, that was our.
Mm-hmm.
I was born ready.
I feel like.
Everyone ready?
Being born ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't know. Yeah.
It's gonna happen with or without you.
Good evening and welcome to the November 2nd, 2023 school committee meeting. We have a little bit of an echo.
That one's.
Oh, it's the laptop. I'm muted.
I'll try again.
Good evening.
Yeah, he
I'm not logged in.
On whatever.
Yeah, it's gone.
I blame Leah.
Okay, great. So Tim Knight is traveling, so I'll be
Knock off.
not
Knock
on.
on. Echo.
So Tim Knight is traveling.
Here we
All
go.
right, so I'll be leading the meeting this evening. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order with a roll call of members of the school committee. Michelle Kirkby present,
Leo Brem here.
Kristen Simonini here.
Will Horn here.
Thank you. So then we'll start with public input. At this time, I'd like to open public input. Members of the public will also be welcome to comment during the public input, either in person here or through Zoom. So please raise your Zoom hand. We ask that you keep your camera on when making a Zoom comment and that you follow school committee policy for public input, including speaking for no more than 3 minutes and only on topics under the purview of the school committee. And whether you're here in person or on Zoom, please state your name and address for the record. Is there any public comment?
Chris Potts, 7 Curb Street. Just some quick comments. Our school committee, as employer of record for Medfield Public Schools, has responsibility for working conditions of teachers and all school staff. 14 years ago, when I was on the Dale Street Site Council, we had a very disturbing event. An outside entertainer had visited a school assembly, and during this time, he proceeded to publicly shame a student to the point of tears. Students were incredibly upset by what had transpired, and it lasted for a good period of time after the event. But the principal was not only upset at what happened, she beat herself up for not standing up at the time to the entertainer and putting a stop to it. And she also felt especially bad because she didn't say anything at the time to support the student. And I know that what happened still bothers her to this day. More recently, which is just 5 years ago, I was told by someone, and it was confirmed multiple times by others, that our superintendent of schools interrupted a first grade teacher common planning time and spent that time berating teachers for getting parents up in arms about class sizes. Instead of standing by and just letting that happen, I spoke up about it because nobody else had the courage to do so. But I was also told again, a principal who was there at the moment stood there and said nothing. I just want to know that when these things happen, it's the responsibility of the school committee when they hear about these things to take actions to investigate, because you are responsible for making sure that we have a climate of working conditions that are respectful. These are not the only 2 incidents that I know of. I have also been personally experienced them myself, and I've heard other stories, and it just can't happen. I'm not going to be someone who's going to just sit by and be silent, like principals who I know who have done that and feel badly about it now. I can't sleep at night by not saying anything, and I can't believe it's taken me this long to actually address this with you today.
Anybody else? Is there anybody online?
No hands.
Okay. We'll close public comment. We'll move on next to the consent agenda. We have approval of the meeting minutes from our October 12th meeting, as well as some donations. I'm going to ask Dr. Marsden to read through the donations.
We have a lengthy list of donations, so I ask that you approve them as presented. $1,324.82 from Medfield Foundation to be deposited in the district gift account for an upgrade to the Vietnam Memorial at Blake and Veterans Field signage. $1,000 from the Schoenfeld family to be deposited in the high school gift account for a high school cheerleading program. $2,320.95 from the Blake PTO to be deposited in the Blake gift account for 8th grade math grant. $565 from Blake PTO to be deposited to the Blake gift account for 6th grade math grant. $1,000 from the Blake PTO to be deposited in the Blake gift account for 8th grade Spanish grant. $1,556.73 from the Blake PTO to be deposited to the Blake gift account for the advisory grant. $2,594.42 from the Blake PTO to be deposited to the Blake gift account for the library classroom grant. $1,161 from the Wheelock PTO paid directly to Conley Bus for bus transportation for the Plymouth Patuxent Museum field trip. And $140 from the Wheelock Angel Fund to be deposited in the Wheelock gift account to assist with field trip expenses for families unable to contribute. I ask to approve as presented.
Are there any questions about the minutes or the donations? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the consent
There's
agenda?
a question.
Oh, sorry, question?
No, I said no question.
Okay.
Oh,
Do I hear
sorry.
a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously. All right,
Thank you.
On to the elementary principal's opening report. We have some wonderful guests here this evening. The principals of our elementary school, Memorial, Wheelock, and Dale, along with some members of their site councils, are here to discuss the school opening. I'm personally a really big fan of all three of our elementary schools and really excited to hear what everyone has to share with us. I don't know if you have anything to add or how you guys are going to go up. I know sometimes you go together and separate. Together, okay. You have the floor.
Thanks, Michelle. We're fans of your kids too. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Missy, Steve, and I'd like to thank you for inviting us to join you this evening to share a little bit about the 2023-24 school year. It is my pleasure to say that the openings at all three of our elementary schools have gone very smoothly. We would like to thank and recognize the office staff at each building, our tech department, custodial staffs, nurses, and teaching staff, as well as our central office staff who all contributed to the opening of our schools. As we all know, it does take a village, and without the village and combined efforts of many people, smooth openings would not be possible. The enrollment at the elementary school level is steady. At this time, there are 48 preschoolers, 197 kindergartners, and 177 first graders for a total of 422 students at the Memorial School. At Wheelock, there are 208 second graders, a big class there, 183 third graders, and 11 adorable students in our brand new preschool classroom at Wheelock for a total of 402 students. At Dale Street, there are 206 fourth graders, 196 fifth graders for a total of 402 students at Dale Street. That said, class size ranges on an average between 21 and 24 students per each elementary class. Within 2 months of the school year, with 2 months of the school year already in the books, not sure exactly how that happened, things are definitely in full swing. And Missy, Steve, and I would like to highlight a few initiatives that are consistent across the three buildings to give you an idea of some of the great things that are happening this year. I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Grenham.
Thanks, Holly. Thank you very much for having us here tonight. The first initiative I'm going to talk about is our open house, new open house format. This year in September, all three elementary schools hosted an open house for all students and families. Open house was a wonderful opportunity for families to visit their child's classroom, to learn about the subjects they will be immersed in throughout the school year and the special subjects they will be part of each week. We're excited to share that this year's format change was brought on by teachers who had given us this input a couple of years ago, and we were so happy to have students and their families in the school. Students and families started off their visit in each one of their child's classrooms. In the classrooms, guests received information as well as a scavenger hunt that provided opportunities for families to learn about their child's classroom, explore the daily schedules and routines of the school, and meet a variety of the elementary staff members, special subject teachers, school nurse, special education. In addition to the representatives from the PTO and the MCPE and CPAC, were all there to share information about their wonderful organizations. Holly, Missy, and I all received a lot of positive feedback regarding the new format. I included just a few comments for you. One comment from a teacher: "This is the best night. I love this format." A parent: "This is my last child to go through the elementary schools, and I have been to about 20 open houses. This is by far one of the best I've attended." And a specialist: "I usually make 25 to 30 copies of the curriculum for families. Tonight I saw over 100 people, by far the most I've ever interacted with at open house." Some families have shared that it would be nice if we continue the format to have teachers maybe send a video or email message highlighting the classroom or curriculum expectations for the school year. This was great feedback, and Missy, Holly, and I look to be working with teachers to increase on the great open house for next year.
Thanks everyone for having us again. So as you are aware, last year we completed a comprehensive math pilot, and we are in our first year of adoption of the illustrative math program. Our classroom teachers have participated in professional development during the summer and at the start of the school year. All teachers continue to work closely with a group of teachers who piloted the program last year, our math specialists at each building, and our math coordinator, Jen Belsky. Jen has created a website to help support instruction, and we have designated time during curriculum meetings, common planning times, and upcoming professional development days to check in with staff, preview upcoming concepts, brainstorm ideas for implementation, and provide ongoing support. There is a lot of prep work that goes into implementing this new program, and we are grateful to Jen Belsky, Dr. Power, and our math specialists Carrie Sperling, Marcy Murphy, and Brenda Paraki, who continue to work to ensure that materials are prepped and ready for our teachers. At each building, our teachers are working hard, and we want to recognize them for all of their efforts and the feedback that they continue to share with us as they navigate this new program. It's still early in the school year, but overall, we are seeing high engagement levels from our students, great math conversations, and a steady development of skills through the first couple of units of instruction. In English Language Arts, we are excited to be partnering with Dr. Kate Ullman-Shade this year, working in conjunction with our literacy coordinator, Jamie Callahan. The two of them are providing professional development to teachers and reading specialists in kindergarten through grade 5. Currently, they rotate through each building every Friday, focusing on best teaching practices as they relate to the science of reading. As we work to address phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension, some of our overall goals for this year include a focus on Fidelita's Foundations instruction in grades K to 3, exploration of morpheme magic in grades 4 and 5, and using assessments such as the DIBBLES, which is the dynamic indicator of basic early literacy skills in grades K to 5, the QRI, which is the quick reading inventory in grades 2 to 5, and the decodable text assessment in grades K to 1 to identify areas of student strengths and needs and to make adjustments to our instruction accordingly. In addition to meeting with groups of teachers, Kate and Jamie are also modeling lessons within classrooms and following up to support staff and share feedback as they implement various strategies during day-to-day instruction. We are grateful for Kate and Jamie's work as well as the flexibility of our staff as they embrace new teaching methodologies and assessments. We are so fortunate to work with such an amazing group of educators who continue to adapt to change and to do what is best for our students. I'm going to turn it back over to Steve.
Thanks, Missy. Another new thing that we're trying this year is the elementary principals have decided that we facilitate student support series webinars aimed at enhancing the support system for our students and their families. These webinars will include interactive sessions and comprehensive resources designed to foster a more inclusive and effective educational environment. Our priority is to address the most pressing concerns in the areas where students and their families need support. Our first webinar was held on October 11th and focused on student well-being. We are committed to creating a detailed plan for each of the student support series webinars and ensuring that the content is engaging, informative, and aligned with the identified needs and goals. We will share out webinar information in our weekly communications and will record all webinars to accommodate working parents and diverse family needs. Our goal is to continue our commitment to continuously improve student well-being and academic success while also strengthening the collaboration between the school and the home. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Holly to talk about our partnerships.
The Medfield Public Schools are truly committed to their connections with community organizations. Each year, the MCPE graciously provides funds for grants to each of our elementary schools. Grants have included sensory walks, coding devices, water filling stations, various furniture to upgrade spaces, and a book vending machine at Wheelock, to mention a few of their grants. We also are very proud and work closely with our CPAC, our Special Education Parent Advisory. The CPAC provides various supports to families with students who have IEPs, 504s, as well as our general education population. They provide workshops to families, helping them navigate the IEP process, as well as providing various other speakers and workshops for parents and guardians. And they also meet monthly with families. The Pre-K-8 PTO is an incredible group of supported and dedicated parents and guardians who support the Pre-K-8 initiatives throughout the district. Through their tireless fundraising efforts, they are able to support field trips, cultural arts performances, staff grants, as well as other various school events and needs throughout the year. They are also responsible for providing staff luncheons and stipends to teachers. We are so very grateful to have these incredible organizations that we partner with. And now I'm going to invite Joan Dion up, who is going to talk a little bit about the site councils.
Hi. So what is a site council? A site council is a building-based representative committee composed of the principal, teachers, parents, community members, and at the secondary level, students. Site councils are required to be established by each school pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 71, Section 59C. While there is no designated number of times a site council must meet each year, the average is once per month. School site council members work together with the building leader to develop and monitor the school's improvement plan, as well as providing input into the budget process. Site councils enhance school-based decision-making because they expand the participation of a community in its school's decision-making process. The involvement of teachers, parents, and non-parent community members who support the development of a school improvement plan increases the likelihood that the plan will be successfully implemented. School improvement plans are written in alignment with and in support of the district's strategic plan. Easy for me to say. So I just wanted to mention the group within Wheelock. We are the Wheelock Site Council, which includes teachers Deborah Trakulis, Jen Murphy, Carol Maloof, Kristen Martin as a parent, Laura Zacks as a parent, Ashley Bachman parent, Jen Montone, Darcy Robertson, and Mary Beth Reddy is our community rep. She also works in the building.
Hello, I'm Sarah Drew, and I am the kindergarten representative for the Memorial Site Council. Our pre-K representative is Sally DeGeorge. Our first grade representative is Leslie Sear. Our three parent representatives are Laura Zacks, Megan Boudreau, and Catherine Scott, and our community member is Kathleen Farrell. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Emily Hutton, and I'm a parent volunteer on the Dale Street Site Council. The other parents on our site council are Nia Jacobs, Kristen Martin, Lynn Nicholas. Our teachers are Mari Narwaki, Kelsey McKenzie, Margot Hayes, and our community rep is Tom Ramlow. So last year we worked together collaboratively to develop the Dale Street's school improvement plan, and we're excited to see it in action this year and start to move some items forward.
I have a comment, I guess. I'm sorry. Were you
I just
raising a hand? Will?
Yeah, I just had
You're
one.
more
I was gonna ask
he's
how
doing
many
it the right way.
people showed up to the webinar? And is there a way to track how many people watch it? Like with a lot of the stuff we've talked about, like.
Can you track if somebody watches the webinar on Zoom, like after the fact? There's a way we can track that.
Okay. But there's 38 there live? Sounds like a neat thing.
Mine was more of a comment, and it's sort of reflective of something that Mr. Brennan said last night. I think it was in the context of report cards, but I didn't know what to expect, but seeing you all prepare and present together and the consistency that you're trying to create across the elementary schools, I just have a great appreciation for. I think that for the families in the community, you know, who have kids at all different ages, I think it's really nice to see how well you're all partnered together. And I hope that, you know, you continue to go down that path, because I think that's great for the kids to have, you know, those common experiences as they move from elementary school to elementary school. I think that, you know, cuts down on some of that transition anxiety and from the kids and the parents alike. So, so thanks for approaching it the way you're approaching it.
So I want to thank everyone up here and the three principals in particular. I really appreciate the balance that comes across the elementary schools in relation to solid academic programming while ensuring that there's kind of room for childhood magic and fun to still be present throughout the school year. And we talk about some of the programming that might be more fun or hands-on. Lots of times it has to do with activities where volunteers are needed. I believe today was the first day of Rocky Woods. Holly, do you have an estimate on how many volunteers it takes to run Rocky Woods? We've got like 180 to 200 volunteers to make Rocky Woods happen every year. And Steve and Missy, I know that you also have activities that require parental or family involvement in order to make them run properly. So just wanted to take a moment to thank anyone who's volunteered in the schools, but also point out how crucial parent and family volunteer is to keep these programs alive and to make sure that these special, fun, kind of hands-on educational programs really need a big donation of time. I know that we've talked about this a lot across the board, but I wonder sometimes with elementary parents, you know, Leo, Will, Elise, myself, when our 5th graders were in 1st grade is when the world shut down. So when we look now at everybody below us, they weren't here, right? And their experience has been not the norm. And I just wanted to, give a public service announcement around volunteers are needed to keep these kind of programs running. And thank you to anyone who has volunteered. Missy, I know there's been active fundraising that's been going on for the last few years at Memorial in support of new playground equipment. I first heard about the playground needing updating in 2018, but I've talked to other parents and I know the discussions happened prior to that, so that this has been something that's been in the works for quite a long time. Can you speak a little on why the playground needs to be updated and some of the advantages that these updates will bring to Memorial students?
Safety first, accessibility for all of our students, and the ability for kids to come together and play cooperatively, which is something that we know is a lifelong skill and that the kids need to be able to do. So the playground right now, while it's great for our kids, it was not as accessible and still continues to need some more accessibility features on it. So we, this past summer, put in some mats that will allow our swings and our main climber, as well as our new Volta, which is our spinner that we put in for our kids to be able to get to that. The Volta is accessible for students who may have mobility issues or other types of challenges, whereas some of our other climbers are not as accessible for our kids. So that really is the biggest reason that we wanted to make those updates. And I think there are a lot, I think the playground is 20 to 30-ish, 20, 25 years old. And there's been a lot of updates and a lot of different things that help bring kids together. There's also other features that we are hoping to install that maybe are not so much activity-based. They have musical instruments and other things that really touch upon other interests and whole child experiences. So I think those are some of the things that we're looking to do.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the playground updates as well. And one of the things that I think about when I think about a playground in elementary school is the sheer volume of usage that it gets. I mean, you can look at it as one item that is going to get used multiple times throughout the year, a day, by a bunch of students, but you could also look at it as, one individual child. Like I think of my own child who's in kindergarten right now, and I was thinking about it today, and like, if I take away any absences that he has, or if he has any indoor recess time, it's probably still touching that playground a minimum of 150 times this year. And that doesn't necessarily look at before school, because I think his bus is later, so I don't know if he gets much time there, or any sort of extra recess that they might use, or if we decide to send him to MAP, the MAP kids use it at preschool. So I think it's just another important thing to think about, that every child who goes to Memorial will be utilizing these things and how much they enhance and enrich the experience for this age group. I also want to point out that I like that the fact that it's going piece by piece is allowing the families that are fundraising in kindergarten, those kids get to see it in first grade. Lots of times when there's bigger fundraising efforts, it's years down the road before it happens, and those families and those children who are doing the work to get there don't necessarily get to see that. The pieces are also movable, so depending on what happens with the Dale Street School, all of these pieces will be able to be moved if something were to happen, that the playground needs to be moved in that space. So I just thought that that was important and wanted to share that. And then Steve. So you and Jeff, gave a great presentation at the SBC meeting last night. So thank you both for that. I found it was good to hear again for the stuff that I hadn't heard in a while. You talked a lot about the facility components that had been incorporated into the previous school design and how those would enhance educational practices. I feel like there was a very long list of things that would make the experience better, and I feel like your staff and team do a really incredible job of maximizing challenging situations and producing impressive results. I'm continually impressed about what you're able to do there. I'm curious though, when you look at the list of the upgrades and the enhancements, is there 1, 2, or 3 that you feel are just going to be such a game changer because you are limited in that space right now, when you think about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that. I did want to echo what you just said. The staff at Dale Street, no matter who you are, they're a teacher, an aide, a custodian, lunch person, like they're all educators, and they do such an amazing job over there. They're all great teachers, but they do maximize. But to answer your question, there's not even a second place is space. You know, we just don't have space. Last night we talked about it. We talked about just the different rooms to, you know, classrooms have their space, but if you wanted breakout rooms, or if you had any of your specialists as far as music, being in the hallways and doing different things like that. We talked about sensory and comfort rooms that are just the norm in all elementary schools nowadays, trying to find spaces for that. So the number one by far for me would be space, because I think if you had the space in there to have these different rooms, it would just be a game changer for everybody. I mean, people like Brenda Paraki and Christy Callahan and Jen Bassett, our reading and math specialists. I mean, just finding different spaces. Some kids will go up to their room, but it might be far away. Same thing with our special education. And we make it work, you know what I mean? And we do it with a smile, and it's best for the kids, and that's what we want to do. But it's hard when you have an area in that building. You cannot change the footprint. And as much as we've tried, and Jeff has been over there so many times, and we've had many conversations about how to change it, and we have done different things. We've been able, with the help of, you know, Owen, to wire an office in the back room for our ETL educational team leader. So we're just always trying on the same footprint to kind of expand it. But I think that would be the number one thing that would just be the game changer. And then within that, there's just so many things, as we talked about last night, that we'd be able to do.
Yeah, one of the things we didn't talk about last night is Steve has in Dale Street rooms that are 700 square feet. You know, and now you need to have a minimum in MSBA of 900 square feet. So just that extra 200 square feet in a classroom makes all the difference in the world for teachers and kids. You know, so we didn't really get into that because we focused on, you know, 5 areas, but the space, to Steve's point, that not only the rooms that he had, but the actual rooms that he has now that just aren't big enough. You know, so we just need to expand wherever we can.
Yeah, and that impacts, we talked a little bit last night, it impacts our specialists, because these people are working hard. As Missy said, the whole child is so important to all of us. And, you know, those people are on cots and moving from place to place and try, you know, it's just, they're professionals. They do a great job. They do it with a smile on their face and present a great education for the kids at school. But it's, you know, I'd love to give the health teacher her room, or give the world language people their room. But, you know, they're all flying around doing, you know, this or that. And it's just hard, you know, with that. So they all do it. They're true professionals. I love working with them. They're the best staff, and just we'll continue to do everything we can. We'll take input and feedback, but I know that I work with a great staff at, you know, with Central Admin, that always helping to come up with ideas for that as well.
Molly, do you have anything? Anyone else? All right, thank you guys so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for your continued support as well.
Thank you. Miss those days. You miss those days. Yeah. Yeah. They do. Yeah.
Thank you guys again.
You sure you want to leave?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot more exciting things. The policy stuff is wonderful.
Bye.
I tried.
That's a good sell. All right, next up on the agenda is the creation of a new high school student activity account for the Med Science Club. Dr. Marston, do you have anything you want to share about
So
this?
in your materials, you had this. It's very similar to what we had the last meeting where the high school was doing a different club and they need to have a sub account in order to fund that. This one seems really, really exciting. If you look at the description that Robert put in there, you know, I think the medical field is something that many of our graduates go into. So it makes sense to have something along these lines for kids to belong to and have some of the experience of suturing and all that other interesting stuff that will happen with that club. So I would ask that you approve it so they can get that club going and kids can participate.
Any comments or questions?
As long as my kid doesn't learn how to suture, I'm not sure. They run it around with a needle, but hey.
All right, do I hear a motion to create a student activity sub-account for the Medfield High School Med Science Club?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion
Thank you.
passes unanimously.
Thank you.
On to summer facility projects.
Michael will give you an update. He put a document in your materials. We usually do this in September, but we got kind of backed up a little bit on some things. So Michael will give you an update, certainly answer any questions you might have on the facility upgrades.
Last summer, we had a lot of projects that we got completed, and there's some projects that are going to be ongoing. But at the Memorial School, we had new flooring in the cafeteria. So that was the original from the renovation, and that was replaced this summer. And then we had 2 split units replaced in that building for our technology department. At Wheelock School, new flooring outside the gym. So it's a 4-phase. So we're doing 1 hallway at a time. So by, this was year 2, next year will be year 3, and then we have year 4. We're moving forward with that, and we're doing this just to keep with our asbestos removal process that we submit to the state. We're required to show that every year we're taking a percentage of the asbestos out of the buildings. So the flooring in classroom 11 was also replaced. New carpet in the LMC and the main office, and fire curtain was removed in the CAF. At Dare Street School, teacher's room renovation, flooring, cabinets, and new sink, and we also painted and ceiling tiles in that room. Fire curtain was removed in gym. Ceiling tile and lighting replacement in 3 classrooms, which was room 11, 18, and 20. We're going to continue that process next year. So we've been doing 3 classrooms per year to get the ceiling tiles.
Hey, Mike, are they, is the lighting for LED replacement, or is it just a ballast replacement?
So currently in those classrooms, which is the older section of Dale, ceilings are higher. So we're putting a ceiling, a lower ceiling, so we have to replace the lighting.
Oh, I see.
And while we're replacing it, it is LED lighting. We also did flooring in the hallway at the modular units. Those are over 20 years old. So we're beginning to replace the flooring in that section. If you recall, last year we did the rooftop units in that section. We're doing flooring. There's a lot of maintenance in that section because those weren't meant to last as long as we have them.
Right.
And then the main stairway repair. So we repaired that area. At the Blake Middle School, HVAC work in room 206, 315, and the special ed office. A new AC in room 401 and 418. New flooring in room 315 and 501. New carpet in the guidance area. The auditorium was redone. So we have new seating, painting, flooring. We do have a few smaller things that we have to do, and we're going to continue to finish that up. And then at the high school, we new roof over the gymnasium and new fire alarm. We are currently working on our current capital plan. So we have a 20-year plan, and then within the 20-year plan, we have a 5-year plan. So items, as I described currently, are continuing to be done for the next 5 years, right? One of the projects that was scheduled for this summer was the tennis courts. We thought we could get them repaired for a certain dollar amount. But what happened is when we brought 3 vendors in, 2 out of the 3 vendors said they cannot be repaired. They have to be actually redone. So we are going back this year for extra funding to get that done properly. And we talked about the tennis courts having pickleball courts over the tennis courts. And while we're doing that, we're going to redo the basketball court that's right next to it. There's a retaining wall that needs to be repaired. We'll be doing that also.
And those get a lot of use off hours.
Oh,
If
they
you ever
do,
come
yeah.
up here off hours, there's people playing tennis and basketball, and so we gotta make sure that's all in good shape.
Any questions?
So I would just add a couple of things. The teacher room renovation that was done at Dale Street was supported by our parents and PTO. They did a wonderful job of that. Just want to just thank them for that. And then the auditorium, the flooring, the painting, and the new seats, a portion of that was paid for by MCPE. So just really want to thank them for all their work. I know that Michael worked on that with capital as well, but MCP put a good chunk of money into that redo of Lake Middle School auditorium.
I didn't hear anything about the solar stuff.
So the solar project, that's great. Thank you for asking.
That's a great question.
The solar project is being, so there's a lot of paperwork that needs to be submitted through the solar project. And one of the process is once Eversource approves the grant, it has to go to the state. One of the, so we were scheduled to do it this past summer, but that was held back because the state says technically on one campus, you can only have one solar project. So we had to go back and forth saying that even though the middle school, high school is one campus, it's 2 entities. So we believe that that's going to finally get approved so there can be 2 solar projects on this parcel of land. One right over here by the athletic field, and then one Pound Street, and then this one at Memorial. The borings at Memorial and at the Blake side were completed this past week. So we're waiting for test results to come in. So what they do is they drill holes in the earth and just to see how solid it is and how far they can, or they have to penetrate through. Obviously the one here at the high school is on hold until we get information from the state. But it looks like that if everything goes well, that project will go forward with that project, starting hopefully as soon as the seniors are out, we can take over a parking lot and start.
What about the panels on the middle school? Do we wait till summer because it's too disruptive when kids are here?
So so that's all part of that one package.
Okay.
So that project is part of that solar canopy project.
And they did all the measurements at Memorial too. There was a crew up there a couple of weeks ago doing all that. Okay.
Yeah, so Memorial and Blake, we could be moving forward with just a little stall here at the high school.
Are there any challenges or surprises with any of the facility updates this summer?
They're always challenges,
Yeah.
always.
And surprises.
And surprises, but we try to build in a 20% contingency in our pricing for those surprises. The 20% that we built in for the tennis courts obviously wasn't enough because, the original company we brought out said that they could fix it. And then before we put the project out to bid, we got 2 other companies who said absolutely not. So that was a surprise because we were hoping to get that done and completed. But working, the other thing is we're working around, staff in the building, programs in the building. So scheduling wise, sometimes is tweaked and changed that can delay something. The roof project here, because of all the rain, we did end up getting it done, but that was delayed, at least a month because of everything that was going on. So just things like that do happen that we deal with. If it's a major thing, we usually bring it to your attention. If, knock on wood, we've been lucky enough with our contingency that we've been, on budget.
And that gymnasium was leaking like crazy for the last 3 or 4 years. So we've had some hard rain since it's been on there, and yeah, knock on wood, it's been great.
I thought that was a shower feature in there with the
No kidding.
tap came down the tube.
I know, it was so bad. It looked so bad.
But that's complete.
If you don't know what we're talking about,
Ready for
we had
basketball
a tarp with a hose at the bottom of the tarp that went into a barrel. It was just not great.
It was,
I thought it
it
was
was
water recapture. But,
Yeah.
You know,
Could have been.
Use the rain.
that's right.
Science experiment.
I'll hold.
all right.
Anybody
Thank you.
else
Thanks,
have
Michael.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Dr. Marsden, do you have anything since posting?
The only thing I would add here, but I don't think it's appropriate to put on the agenda, but I would say that our enrollment for 2023-24 was certified today. So that should be on the agenda for the 16th.
Okay.
But, based on our experiences with things that are on the agenda, I thought it might be better not to put it on the agenda and wait till the 16th.
Okay.
All right.
All right. And then Medfield Public School Strategic Plan update.
So as you know, we sent that out to the families this week, the final product, and got some real good feedback from families that really liked it, enjoyed it, thought it was a great presentation, and I know that people that participated in the process thought it was a great process as well. So the only thing that we're just waiting for now is the final, getting the dashboard up. We should have it up by the end of next week. It's just really just tweaking to see how we're going to characterize something that would be started, in process, finished, that kind of thing. So just working with Neil on that, and other than that, it's ready to go. He's done the skeleton piece for all 4 priorities. That's ready to roll. We just have to just figure out what we're going to do for the color coding and all that. But yeah, Neil's been a huge help and did a great job on the back end of this, so that we'll be able to put that out there. And then as soon as that's done and ready to launch, we'll send that out to parents as well.
I'm sorry, when are we estimating that?
The end of next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys have anything around the strategic plan?
I thought it looked good.
And then we have the classroom posters at the print shop, so that'll be the next couple of weeks too. We'll get those. Every classroom, every room will have that last page that has our core values, vision, and mission statement on there. So looking forward to having that. I was able to attend every faculty meeting this month, last month, October, and went over all the priorities we talked about here with the staff, and went through all that so that they're all on board with that, and then they know they're going to get the posters in their classroom as well.
Okay.
We're in good shape there.
Good. Okay. All right, let's see. Up next is SBC. Yep. So the SBC met last night. The joint meeting on November 14th is not actually going to be a joint meeting. I think that was new information for some SBC members last night. I'm not entirely sure where the conversation got lost in translation between all the groups, but I'm optimistic that we're still on the early side of this project and we can figure out a way to get together and have some joint meetings. I feel it's imperative to the success of this project that the governing bodies that will need to publicly support this project have the opportunity to flush out questions, comments, etc., and make sure everybody's on the same page. November 14th, I think we should still publish that as a school committee meeting though. So everyone's invited and welcome to attend to hear the SBC presentation and the update. My understanding from last night's meeting is that the select board meeting will start at 6 and they're estimating the SBC will be on around 7, but I didn't see an agenda online today to confirm that, so I can let everybody know as that date gets closer. Kristen, Jeff, and I have met to chat a little about grade configuration. This will obviously be an ongoing discussion. Some of the things that we've talked about were historically looking at what the previous school committee had discussed and looked at. And by previous, I'm talking about the school committee members that voted the grade configuration for the last project. Leo, you were obviously a part of that. So prior to that vote, from my reading and watching and understanding, there was a strong support for a 3-4-5 model. And then due to the pandemic and change in the economic climate, they voted to adopt a 4-5 model. So we've talked a little about the history there. We've looked again at Steve Callahan's presentation that he gave the SBC around cost. We've looked at the survey data coming in from the community to the SBC where cost is a major factor. And then again, if you look at the MSBA site, you can see the current costs of a lot of the projects they have right now. So again, this will be an ongoing discussion, but I think that cost is going to be something that we really need to keep in mind when we're looking at this. Speaking of cost, we still haven't heard from the MSBA yet. They will be voting in December, and that's when we'll know if we've gotten back into the program or not. Jeff and Steve gave a great presentation last night around the ed plan, highlighting some of the different facility components that were a part of the previous school design that would really enhance learning for our students. And that's all I have. Jeff or Kristen, do you have anything you want to add to the SBC update?
No, the as you said before, the update last night was really helpful to just get an overview, but I think, you know, obviously Mike encouraged everybody to go look at the full plan, but definitely good to get some highlights, so that we can understand, you know, at least the school's position on some of the needs and the planning. On the configuration, I think, you know, as you stated, as was voted on the 27th of 2020, that the committee was recommending a 2-grade elementary. I think, given all the reasons that you said, there's not an ask by the committee, at least, to pursue a change to that original ask. So unless there's a strong need to do that that is in line with what was submitted in the SOI to the MSBA, and that continues to be the ask. So there's no change there. If there was any confusion with the SBC, if it was 3 or if it was 2, which is, I think, some confusion, I think we can set that confusion to rest based on how that was voted previously and submitted.
I have nothing to add.
Comments, questions? Leo, you want to throw in your 2 cents from being on that?
Nope.
Nope, okay. All right, up next then is, let's see, community engagement and communication. So let's see, our first informal conversation will be held on December 4th. This will be a virtual conversation. We'll be ready to publish the Google Forms after our next meeting, so after November 16th. This is where community members who are planning on attending can pre-register with questions and topics so that school committee members in attendance have some time to do research if necessary before that meeting. Our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages all celebrated 1 year. We officially launched them a year ago. The growth has all been organic. We only sent that one original email, and we're close to 1,000 followers across all 3 channels, which was my personal goal, so I'm kind of excited about that. I tried. Does anyone else have anything they want to add around communication or community engagement?
I would just as a follow-up to the last meeting when principals Arga and Vaughn shared the plan for the parent-teacher conferences for the middle school and high school. So those have happened, and I just wanted to share sort of my personal experience with that in the middle school. I would say wasn't sure what to expect, but I saw the original sign-up email and I thought, oh, that sounded confusing, and then it wasn't at all. So that was really nice. Appreciated the fact that, you know, you could sign up for 2, and then if there was bandwidth, you could sign up for more, which of course I did because I'm a helicopter, so I go talk to everybody. So I did talk to 5 teachers that day, and I might have made a comment about speed dating and freaked one of them out because there was, you know, it's 7-minute conferences, but you can actually accomplish more than I expected you could in 7 minutes, which was a pleasant surprise. I was a little skeptical about that, I won't lie. So I just wanted to say I thought that was a really good experience. I hope and encourage more parents to take advantage of it in the future. I'm not sure what the total sign up was. I'm just going based on what I, you know, saw myself on Thursday afternoon. So anyway, that just a follow up since they spoke about that last week. I thought those were nice. I'm glad we had them. Also went to the mattress fundraiser last weekend for our jazz kids, and I bought a mattress, so I hope these guys get to go to New Orleans on my mattress sale. So.
Great. So I'll give you the data at the next meeting. I don't have Blake's data yet, but I know the high school had, I think, 994 conferences.
That's great.
So I think Blake probably had more than that.
Yeah.
But I'll get that information for you the next time.
It was very well organized.
It was great. Yeah, thank you.
Anything else on communication or community engagement? Okay. All right, finally, we are on to our Medfield Public School Policy Review, ADF Wellness Policy, and IMGA Service Animal Policy. We will separate them. So just to review, Brittany Hardiman, lead nurse, she's here, attended our September meeting for the informational reading of this policy. Ms. Hardiman shared the changes and updates and went over them. The policy was included as a first reading in our October meeting. So today is our second reading and potential vote. There have been no changes to these policies since they were first presented as informational items on September 14th. Tim and I have talked and looked into this a lot, and we would like to add one small change to the wellness policy. It will be under evaluation, the very last line. So it currently reads, the wellness policy is evaluated by the Health Advisory Committee every 3 years and findings are disseminated to the superintendent for approval. We would like to add disseminated to the superintendent and school committee for approval. So are there any questions or comments on policy ADF?
I don't, but if someone's going to note that change as amended.
Yeah, and a motion.
Yep. Do we feel ready to vote on this policy?
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to approve policy ADF with a change to add school committee after superintendent under the evaluation line?
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Did you want to make public comment on that? From the vote?
Yeah.
Nope, she's good.
I don't see anybody. No hands online.
All right, we'll do it again. Do I hear a motion to approve policy ADF with a change to add and school committee after superintendent under the evaluation line?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Policy IMGA, Service Animal Policy, second reading and vote. At our September meeting, Dr. Marsden explained that the policy presented is a result of the MASC model policy and additions from the school attorney. Mary Brule explained the difference between a service animal and an emotional support animal and how that translates into the school environment. There have been no changes to this policy since they were first presented as informational items on 9/14. Are there any questions or comments on policy IMGA? Are we ready to vote? Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve policy IMGA?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes unanimously. Okay, on to informational items. Saw your picture in a Halloween party. Would you like to talk about Halloween parties?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, Dylan.
You're mixing them up.
Look on his face is priceless.
He's like, which picture?
Which one? Which
Yeah.
picture?
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, I'm a room parent for fourth graders right in there. I was in Miss DePisa's room, and she did a great job with stations, which I think are always awesome, and something our teachers utilize a lot. But yeah, they did some math. It wasn't just a party, they did some math, and the math geek in me was excited about that. And the kids had a lot of fun. I think we cleaned up all the pom-poms. We made a ghost in a cup, and they shot pom-poms in the air outside, and we collected them all, and it was a good day. And the kids had a lot of fun. They were excited about it. Fun being in the school and watching the kids be excited about math and making crafts.
Yeah. Molly, how are things going at the high school?
I'm trying to think. Well, the term's ending, or the quarter's ending soon, so all the classes will be switching, I think. I think the term ends on Friday, or the quarter does. So I think for like the seniors, it will kind of be like a weight lifted off almost, because colleges get your first quarter transcript. Yeah, I think so far everything has been good. I think we've been able to balance like college stuff and schoolwork at the same time pretty well.
Deadlines are happening.
Yeah, so one of them, November 1st, but some schools have November 5th or November 15th for the early action. So most people are done, but then the next deadline is January 1st. But I think most of the teachers were really generous with the workload, knowing that our deadline was November 1st.
And for the teachers writing the letters of recommendations too. That
Yeah.
Had to get them in at that time. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We heard about it. I know, I don't remember if you were here for that part of the meeting last time, but, you know, Principal Parga and one of the students talked about the support in place for kids going through the process, as, you know, as far as applications and everything. Just wondering, like, if you've taken advantage of any of those supports and how that's worked out for you.
I've gone to my guidance counselor a few times, which was helpful. There were some things that I could have done alone, but it's better to have like a second set of eyes, and that was really nice. But there was also like the writing center, which is run by WB. But she's one of the English teachers, and she runs the writing center, which people can go to during flex. And a lot of there were a lot of seniors there, like using that for like their supplemental essays, or like just like their regular Common App essay. So I think that overall the guidance counselors also like broke it down. So like with the information they gave us, we had like 3 like class meetings, I guess you could say, like during flex, to help us go over the things that we needed to go over, which I think was a lot less, it made it a lot less overwhelming than getting all the information at once.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Just one thing, I just want to recognize, we had some training on Tuesday for school safety, and just want to thank the Medfield Police Department and the Mass State Police for helping us with that. We were looking at doing some additional training that teachers had requested when we did a professional development survey last year, and Mass State Police came in with the Medfield Police, did a wonderful job. So just want to thank them they met with every single staff member. We did a secondary one first, and we did an elementary one afterwards. They were outstanding. So just appreciate the partnership.
Okay. So future agenda items, superintendent goals will be at the next meeting. Tim and I have met with Dr. Marsden, and we've been working on these. They will follow the DESE framework and align with the strategic plan. School start times and district fees and the enrollment stuff you said earlier will also be upcoming discussions. Our next meeting is November 16th. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
But you said you're going to post the 14th.
Correct.
And we have policy sub tomorrow morning at 9:30.
Okay.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you and good night.